Hello, welcome to the Knock On KCLR and Scoreline.ie's rugby podcast. The full band is back this week. Tom Crotty, Johnny Tobin and James Blanchfield. Tom from Carlow, of course, Johnny from Tullow and James from Kilkenny. Tom, welcome back this week. We missed you last
Thanks,
week,
Stephen.
of course, and sympathies to your family on the passing of your mother.
Thanks, Stephen. Much appreciated.
No problem at all. Lads, plenty of action on the pitch. Leinster League is back in full swing. The URC is back as well. There's plenty to talk about there as well. And there's a bit of international bits happening, and there's management issues, and there's colleges rugby and everything, or schools rugby back and all that stuff as well. We'll get cracking with the local stuff first as well. James Blanchfield, happy fellas coming out of Fuchstown last week. That's a good win over Suttonians.
Yeah, we were delighted. We were thrilled. We were all looking at Suttonians in the warm-up kind of going, geez, these are big fellas, they know what they're doing. They're doing a great warm-up. They talk the talk. They were out there, they were chanting and up and back and 1, 2, 3 and all this kind of stuff. And they were big fellas. And we were kind of questioning, geez, after the week before, are our lads going to be able to cope with these boys in the scrum? That was the first big question we had coming in. And after the first scrum, we kind of knew we knew, yeah, not too bad. Second scrum, not too bad. And then we had the upper hand. But, geez, fair play to Sutton. For the first 20 minutes, they owned the ball. Like, we couldn't get outside of our 22. And they were playing this real kind of game plan, a real speedy game plan, one-off runners off 9 and 10. And to be fair, we couldn't cope with it. We actually couldn't, but they still failed to get through. Is what happened then was I turned around. I actually, on the sideline, I was standing behind the goal. I turned around to Mick O'Donovan and said, the best thing we do here, Mick, now is give away a penalty and let them kick a goal. 2 minutes later, they got a penalty, kicked the goal, got 3 points. That allowed us to get back down into their house straight away from the kickoff. We scored a try. From there on, it was plain sailing. We cracked their game plan. We knew how to defend against them. And that was it. We didn't concede a try. Game finished 29 points to 6. Really good performances all around. Gary Dunn was class in the back row, but the big success story of the day was Conor Walsh. Conor's just up from under 18. It's his first home start in the Leinster League. He started down in Gorey the week before, but didn't get much game time, if any. But some of the stuff he did in the game, like a young fella of 18 should not be doing in a J1 Leinster League match. He was up winning kickoffs from full back, winning our own kickoffs from full back, getting up amongst their forwards and winning them. And then not only did he win them, but he'd make ground as well. And he's a big, tall chap. He's all arms and legs. You're skinny, still has a lot of growing to do. But what he did in the second half for our bonus point try was nuts. He got a ball deep inside our own half and just looked like there was a defender coming to him. He chipped it over to him. The bounce went against him. Somehow he just stayed going for the bounce. He was caught about a metre short and made a pop off to, I think it was Puddin Dempsey or Conor Dempsey to get the try. So for us, it was great to see Conor getting in. For more importantly, it was great for us to get a win with a bonus point. That puts us in the 4th position in the league, and a couple of other interesting results in Division 1A as well last week. So, you know what, a little bit of momentum and a little bit more positive energy around the club and around the team now.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations on that one. I'm feedbacking through someone's speakers there, lad. Whoever it is. No, I think it's gone there now. Johnny Tobin, you took the trip down to the seaside to have a look at Wicklow. We were talking about them last week and how tough they were and just how much work is going on there and everything. By Jesus, put on a good show. Very tight.
Yeah, it was very impressive, actually, considering because we haven't really been on such a good roll. Like, I know we beat Mullingar, but like we've been building. But like we spoke about last week, Wicklow went to Longford and beat Longford. So what we said last week was that's a league decider for them. And then we go up there and do that. Like, we led till I think there was 12 or 13 minutes left in the game and we were leading 20 points to 17. Like, and they just got a score in the last few minutes and held us out. But very, very positive. To be fair, a lot of young guys, it was nice for me, even especially there. My younger brother got a start in the firsts. He started on the wing for them. He's only came back to playing rugby in the last couple of weeks. So I was thrilled with that. My parents even went up to watch it. Made a real day out of it. But it was good. It was some good stuff. Lads are on the up now. They're training tonight because Aho is getting married in the morning. So they're training tonight, giving the weekend off, then a bit of celebrations. And then back to reality then Tuesday. But look, it's all going the right way. I wasn't expecting that scoreline, to be fair. I think Tom will agree with me and James. There's no one expecting Tullow to get that scoreline in Wicklow.
You know, Johnny,
No,
you
it's a
said
great
last
result.
week that
Really good
if you
result.
come back with a win, you know, you had a good day out, like, you know. And
Yeah.
I remember looking at Twitter, actually, with about 2 minutes to go on the scoreline. I think it was 21-20 or something like that. I was going, geez, Tullow are winning. You know, Tobin will be delighted, but it's great to see it, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it
absolutely.
was great.
Good to get a bonus point.
Yeah, it was now, and look at they're all positives, and it's the small positives that build a squad. We lost Stevie Smith and Joe Waters very early in the game.
Oh, God.
The lads know, like, they're two massive losses.
Absolutely.
Like Stevie Smith's
Yeah.
ball carrying alone is worth its weight in gold. You know, like, you're no disrespect to the lads, but you're bringing on a sub prop to move Scott Callback back to the back row at about 10-15 minutes gone in the first half. Like, you know, it doesn't do any favours. Like, so I think fatigue would have came into it a little bit in the end. But all credit to Wicklow, they stuck it out. They got the win. They done what they had to do. But I really think we came away from Wicklow more positive now than them.
And from your perspective, Johnny, was it kind of Wicklow were bad or Tullow were very good, or a little bit of both, or not trying to knock your performance?
Yeah,
Get some context on it.
I'll be honest with you, it was a little bit of both. I'd say Wicklow were very complacent. I would have imagined. They would have come saying, look, Tullow are on a bad roll at the minute. Everyone knows, like, lads are retiring, lads are out injured, stuff like that. We're still transitioning back from GAA. We had a lot of lads playing GAA Saturday and Sunday, so they weren't available to us. We had 19 lads went to Wicklow, and we done exactly what Tullow do. Everyone doubts you, just turn up and just perform. And that's when everyone says it against you, you're thinking, oh, they're going to get hammered here, and then they just turn on, and it's crazy to think that you can just turn a switch like that and be that good. And then where do you go from here now? Is the big question, you know?
Absolutely.
So hopefully this weekend off will be good. Get Stevie Smith, Joe Waters back, a few others back, and we're moving in the right direction. Is the main thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations, Johnny. I know it's a loss, but the performance is very good for momentum, great for the heads and all that as well. And best wishes to Aho. He's
Absolutely. The best
part of the furniture in Tullow, so he is.
Yeah.
Lovely man. Yeah.
He came down to
married
the
to
rugby
Byrne,
with us
too.
this year.
Oh, he goes down every year, doesn't he?
So what's it? Angie, is that his wife's name?
Anne-Marie,
Yeah, they
He's
came down
marrying a
and played with us
Fitzgerald,
this
so
year.
he's surely part of the furniture now.
No, definitely.
That's it. So Tullow are off this weekend. Of course, there is a break. Kilkenny have a break as well. But Tom, your match was obviously postponed last week, and so it'll go ahead this weekend. So you've got that trip to Mullingar on Sunday as well. I don't think the forecast is great. Proper rugby weather though.
For sure. Johnny knows we're playing on a carpet.
Mind yourself that you don't get carpet burn, Tom.
Yeah, the rain will help you with the carpet burn, Tom.
We know what happened last time.
I'll tell you, won't be me getting carpet burn a long way off that. No, look, I have to say thanks to the club first by postponing the games last week was a nice honor and mark respect for me, man. But no, look, we're looking forward to going to Mullingar. The only problem is we've kind of 9 sort of in a row first choice players missing this weekend through injury and so on. We also lost Ross Elms, our captain, kind of a talisman of the team, and the Kildare match. Ross looks like he'll be out for half, if not the whole season. He ruptured his Achilles tendon, which was a bit of a bummer for him most of all, and for us as a club, because he was flying that day and just happened early on in the game. You can see the difference. Like, it upset our whole system and the way we play when Ross went down. But I'm sure the lads have put an awful lot of work in this week. They'll be kind of youngish. They're just kind of looking at what potentially the team is. So, like, there's a lot of younger players going to be stepping into big shoes this weekend. And we hope to get seconds. There could be a few forwards playing in the backs in the seconds, but the main things we want to try and make sure we get the two teams up if we can at all, because like there is lads training there who need games, and it's hard enough to get seconds games, and I think Mullingar actually have their seconds, Johnny. I think they do.
Yeah, we actually didn't have a
seconds.
Yeah, we didn't have a seconds today. They were due to play us, so.
Yeah, I think they have. So it'd be nice to get lads again, no matter where they're playing and what they're at. But it's game time now is key for, if lads are training week in, week out, the main thing is that they get games. But I know we're looking forward to get the show on the road again.
Yeah, absolutely. And the best of luck with that match.
Seconds rugby is struggling.
Yeah.
Suttonians couldn't put a seconds team out against us on Saturday, and they couldn't field the team the week before either. Like, for a strong club like Suttonians, but yet they can put out a J3 and a J4 to play Metro League.
Oh, that's an insult to it's an insult to us down here. Like they're not there putting these teams out. Like that's just not on. And I know they just don't want to travel.
Well, that's it. They don't want to travel. They just don't want to travel down.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's And is that an ongoing issue, lads, with teams from, say, the Clondalkins of the world and all those?
Clondalkin
will be very good. They'd be very good.
Yeah.
They'd always field seconds and first. It'd be more the Sutton and stuff, that kind of thing. It would Malahides maybe as well, and Ashbournes and stuff like that. But
Ashbourne seconds are going very well in 1A. I think they're unbeaten, but
yeah. But if they're fielding 20s as well, you see, I suppose they're kind of
but to feel a J3 and a J4, not feel a J2, it
doesn't make sense.
Absolutely.
Johnny, the Tullow ladies are in action this weekend. They've got their division league stuff taking place as well, and of course there's youths matches penciled in for the weekend as well. I think Kilkenny are out and that as well. There's bits and pieces going on, lads.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff going on actually at the minute. The women are starting their 2021-2022 season, so the AHO's actually training them. Ironically enough, so
Kilkenny, aren't they?
I think they're playing Kilkenny. Yeah. Look, it'll be good. I know they're training well. AHO's happy with them. AHO and Pookie are actually training them. So two first men actually. They're coaching them there, and they're flying it there at the minute. So hopefully it goes well for them. A lot of youth stuff going on as well this weekend. There was very good there Monday night. The Southeast girls played Wicklow in a friendly game in Enniscorthy, and we had 4 girls on it from Tullow. There's a few on it from Carlow's Hammers there. Is there any on from Carlow?
Is that under 16s or 18s?
18s.
18s, no.
No, and Kilkenny have any on it, James?
I'm not sure of that, Johnny, now, to be honest with you.
That's actually, it's terrible because I'm the forwards coach on the team. I don't actually know where half the girls are from, but girls rugby at the minute is thriving. The game was class Monday night. We played Wicklow on 3 20-minute sections. It was entertaining from the first 5 minutes. The referee pulled his calf. Had to be carried off the field. But it was very good. So girls rugby's on the up, and it's just hopefully the senior women get a win on the weekend, and the 18 girls can have a look at them, and 16 girls. It's something to look forward to, something to look up to.
Yeah, the Rhinos are out, and we have their first cup game. They're in Tullow on Sunday at 2:00 against Wicklow, against Dundalk.
In Tullow on Sunday.
Yeah, that's that cup. The girls' cup. They play the cup games first.
Oh, they play the cup first and run the league out.
Yeah, and then it's the opposite to us. They play the league after, but they're looking well. We had a good training session last night, so
they're a good bunch.
Serious outfit. Yeah, and they had a really good win against Kilkenny. Sorry, James. Last weekend.
Sorry, Tom.
Yeah.
I'll hit you back
Sorry,
with 1 or 2 in a minute. I'll hit you back with 1 or 2 in a minute now.
You always do. They had.
He's going to bring up the 16s result.
Tom, that was the 16s. That wasn't the 18s. That was the 16s. The Rhinos are the 16s and 14s. So, actually, they've had good numbers of both. It seems to be working. And I see I see Enniscorthy and Wexford have formed the Southeast Lines for the ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Des was telling me that the other night. Yeah, they've formed together as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So
makes sense though, lads.
Sometimes it does. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, youth-wise for us now, last weekend was a mixed bag. Like, but the lads under 16 started off on Friday night with Carlow had a very, very strong win.
Here he comes.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Sorry,
Here he
Tom.
comes.
I won't
Barrel
mention,
is
Yeah,
loaded.
yeah.
I won't mention the 30 points, the 34 points that she scored, because even though it was a strong win for us, like 34 points to 70 is still savage scoring. Like,
Yeah.
That's a savage. Yeah.
you know, under 16 girls lost to the Rhinos. Under 14 boys lost to Carlow by 2 points.
That was
The
a great
under
game. I heard
13
the lads are saying it.
Yeah, I think it was a good game, and that's good for
Yeah.
us that our under 14 boys have come on so well, because I think, Johnny, you and I were talking before about that team last year. They were way behind. This year they seem to have caught up.
Yeah.
You know,
We
which
were
is
way
good.
behind the year before. Yeah.
Yeah, the under 13 boys had a strong win to Carlow as well. So, and I think the under 18 girls lost to Enniscorthy. You know, so
Yeah.
look at a mixed bag. You know,
Yeah.
the big thing is it's important. It's just important to get these kids back out to the pitch after they've missed out on so much development over 18 months. It's just great to have them back on the field playing ball.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. Yeah.
This weekend, then what
Yeah.
we have New Ross at home under 14 boys tomorrow night. There's a new jersey presentation as well. Ray Coffee Construction and the 7-7s Taxis have sponsored a new set of jerseys for them. The under 18 girls are actually playing the Wolves on Saturday as well. The under 16 girls are playing Tullamore. And yeah, that's it. That's all of our youth fixtures for the weekend.
Good stuff. Busy. Great to see it as well. Johnny, Kilkenny College, of course, it's schools rugby time again. Straight into it as well. Kilkenny College were unlucky, losing to Belvedere College there the other day, 17-16, sort of a last gasp kick. Sort of ended it for Kilkenny as well. But yeah, it's a cutthroat, the old schools rugby. I was up the Leinster match at the weekend, and there was Gonzaga lads walking ahead of us, and they were talking about the games coming up. I was just listening into the conversation they were having, and it's full on. Like
our senior men actually beat our senior boys. I can't call them men. Our senior boys beat Gonzaga yesterday in the first round of their league. But yeah, the lads were unlucky. Unlucky in the cup, 17-16. They worked really, really hard all summer long. Them lads have committed. So we were with them the 15th and 16th of July. We had 2 full day training sessions. We had 4 training sessions in August. We had 1 training session up in Tullow on the Astro pitch to get a familiarity to it. The problem where we lacked is we had 2 games in preparation before that game, and they were both against Ross Gray School. The first one was 54-6. The second one was 40. I think it was 43-10 or 43-12. We beat them, so they're not doing anything for us as such. Whereas Belvedere were playing every Saturday against teams in Dublin. It's very easy when you're in Dublin to get games against teams. It's not so easy down here to get a good team to compete with you. But look at the lads gave maximum effort, and the school is immensely proud of them. They were really, really good. They tried their absolute best. But look at it, just wasn't good enough on the day. Maybe nerves were a lot playing it too for the first 15-20 minutes. Like there's been a lot of hype. There's been a lot of. This is a long time coming. Like we're talking about this cup since.
That's last year's cup, though, Johnny, isn't it?
Yeah, it's last year's cup. Like
yeah, it's last year's junior cup.
It's been hyped up, and you find it hard to get excited about it, and then it comes around, and then you're getting excited about it, but do you peak too early? It's management things. But I think the lads done really well. Jeff Carter and Liam Caddy and myself were involved with them in the summer, involved with them last year. Well, Jeff and Liam kind of led the show there on Tuesday. It was their team, like, and they put in massive effort. Like the coaching staff, the school, the S&C work, everything was massive behind them, and everyone got behind them. It was really good. But best luck to Belvedere. They're playing Newbridge in the next round. Be nice to see them beating us.
Newbridge.
Secretly, I'm praying for Newbridge, but yeah. No, look at proud of the lads. They done really well. Actually, Carlow man actually captained the team. Adam Watchhorn.
That's right. He's a fine player.
Yeah, he's an excellent player, an absolutely exceptionally good player. He's a really good kid as well. He's really respectful, and he really wants to do well at rugby. There's a good few Carlow, Tullow, Kilkenny lads on it. Jack Campion was on it there from Kilkenny. Glenn O'Rourke from Tullow, Ivor Fenton from Tullow, Watchhorn. Who else? Carlow. Stephen Bailey then from Carlow as well. There's a good few. Ben Deacon, Toby Brown. There's a good few local lads on that squad, so it's nice to see, you know.
Jack Campion's father was actually a past club captain at Kilkenny. I think he might have played for Carlow as well, Tom. Neil Campion.
Oh, Neil did, yeah, he did, Campo.
Yeah, like he was an
Campo,
absolute dinger of a number 8. I mean, class. He would have played a lot of senior rugby with Marys over the years.
Jack is an exceptionally good rugby player.
Yeah.
I'd never tell Jack that. And it's funny because I know he listens to the podcast because he gets on to me every day about when I come back to school. Oh, I listened to the podcast today, sir. He's a really good kid, really good player.
Yeah, no, I met him in the club on Saturday with his dad actually as well. So
it's nice. It's nice to see them do well. It's nice to see Kilkenny doing. We all actually really do look forward to seeing them. Doing well.
Because at the end of the day, we'd be hoping to be coming back to their club, at the end of the day.
That's it. That's why that's it.
And
tell me this though. You said that was last year's cup, so is there going to be another junior cup after Christmas then to play off this year's tournament?
Yeah. So what happened was that was the 05 cup. So when that was decided it was going to be played, Jeff Carter and Liam Caddy took over that group, and I then took over the 06 group until the boys come back. So the 06 group will play their cup now. They're playing friendlies at the moment, but they'll play their cup now in February, March next year, and the lads will come back and they'll take over there with the A's now as of next Monday. So
is there any league for them though, Johnny, that they're going
there's
to
a possibility. There's a possibility of a league after Halloween, but there's friendlies until then. But there's a possibility of a league. So I'd imagine, look, we're going well at the minute. There's been, touch wood, there's no issues come back from any of our games. There's been no COVID links. There's been none of that. So touch wood has been very good.
Any of the lads there that are not, they can't play with Carlow or Tullow unless you
can only play with your club from the 13s and first year.
No, you can play schools youth, which is the Sunday league, which a lot of the Dublin clubs get a lot of schools players back. They're the lads who are what you call it, the year after junior cert. Transition year.
Yeah, so TY
who are not on the senior panel. If you're not named on the senior panel, you can go back and play
the Sunday league.
You can play the Sunday league with your club.
Yeah. So when you're saying Sunday league, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can play under 18 Leinster League or under 16.
Oh yeah, you play under Leinster League schools youth on the Sunday. You can't play our club one on the Saturday, but you can play a lot of the clubs. I see Kildare and a lot of clubs around Kildare are starting to play in the Sunday Youth League, and it's not quite as good a league. Like the standard wouldn't be as good as our own Leinster League. Being honest, our Leinster League, it would be a step ahead.
You have to call a spade there, Tommy, because anyone going into TY that's not in the senior setup is the weaker side of the player. And that's not being harsh to any kid. That's just the reality of it, because.
But you see, in Dublin, in the bigger schools, you'd have such a huge amount of players. Now, I know a lot of the Dublin schools do not want their players playing the club at all.
Yeah,
there's an unwritten rule they don't want them they want them training full time in the school and don't go back to their club, which is not exactly the nicest thing for young lads. Well, they're just kind of giving a hint that they shouldn't play with their club, which is wrong. Yeah. But a lot do come back, but I say that's why there'll be some there in, say, Newbridge and those who would play schools youth, and there'll be lads in Newbridge College or in Clongowes or places like that who will come back and just play on a Sunday. Under 18, or not under 18s, be under 16s kind of.
I'd say there'll be a lot of lads coming out of Clongowes because it's the only time to get off is Sundays.
Yeah.
They're in school 6 days a week.
I think I played under 18 cup in Kilkenny with half of the Roscrea senior cup team playing for
Yeah, I was only talking about it. I'll tell you a good one. When we were years ago in Tullow, we used to be struggling for under 14 teams. We used to be knocking doors and getting lads out in the town. I was only chatting to Larry Canavan about there a few weeks back. We used to drive, so say if we're going to Gorey or something, we'd stop in the whole way down along Gorey. We get every Kilkenny College lad out, put them onto the bus and find some chap's name in the town and play him under the way he went. Just every week. We just couldn't get lads to play. Soccer was massive in the town at the time. Yeah. And then Sean just took us off then, and Ruby just booked them. We kicked lads out the gate then with so many of them.
Very good.
Gas. They were the times when you could do that. You couldn't do that now.
We used to do that with thirds and fourths teams too, pulling lads out of bed on Sunday mornings. A lot of times when you were supposed to be retired, you got bangs on the door going, "Will you come on and play a match?"
It's bad when I was out in the club the other night and Tommy Dwyer walks by me and says, put down that lad there for the seconds there, will you? It's bad when a lad 61 is telling you to put yourself down to play seconds and you're not even 30 yet. It's embarrassing for you.
He's playing next weekend. They're playing the, what you call the parliamentarians. Yeah, we've all got the invite to play on Saturday.
Yeah, they're playing versus an over 35s or something.
Yeah.
They've asked, actually, William Canavan has asked to come up and play. So if Bandon don't have a game, he's going to come up and play for Tullow one last time.
Oh,
he said he wants to smack the president. I don't know what that's about, Paddy Brown. I'd be careful if I was Paddy Brown.
But just on that, actually, interesting point that you made about Sean. 2 points on Sean, actually, but 1 point on Sean and 1 point stemming from it. But we had Tim Corkley was in around the club there on Saturday at the match. And the amount of young fellas running up to him like for photographs.
He'll do wonders for you.
Just to see him, touch him, and see is he real or there, you know. The other thing about Sean was I watched the London Irish game the weekend. Jesus, he had some out.
He's unreal.
Yeah, a great game.
He looks like he never lost a step.
No, he doesn't. He looks like he's enjoying rugby.
He's a lot of grey hair though.
He is. He's turning grey fast.
I don't know about you. I know how that feels.
I can't say much. I go on ball, but like
the light is pretty a lot just to see.
It was great to see, kind of whether Tim makes it or not remains to be seen. What he's making it really, but it was great to see all of the young fellas out there actually, and him giving time back to them and having the chats with them and getting photographs and stuff like that. That's what it's about.
Huge for the club. But like with Tom Daly, Tom Daly comes down, and even Ed Byrne, I know, like he it's a long time since Ed played in the club. Like he was only played up as far as 13s, I think, but 12s or 13s. But like when they come around, like it just makes a huge difference to have them there, and like people actually, and it's great to see in the paper, you know, when they say there's a Kilkenny player, Carlow, you know, there's always that little thing in the nationals to just make an awful difference to kids going. There is a chance, small chance.
It's just funny what I said there, James, about what is making it. For me, that would be, if I was Tim personally, that would be making it. If you're walking out to your home club where you once walked and hoped to see a Sean O'Brien or a Tyke Furlong, and you're now that figure, you know.
The funny thing is actually as well is that Peter Lighton was knocking around the club during the week as well.
He's in Kilkenny College today.
Yeah, nobody has a clue who Peter Lighton is yet. He's played for Stade Francais, London Scottish. He's over and playing professionally in France. Nobody has a clue who he is because he's gone away. But you know, it's one of the things. An objective of mine is to make Peter known to the younger people in the club as well. You know?
He was in Kilkenny College today, working with our out halves,
right?
Doing a bit of kicking with them there.
Some drop goal the weekend. Like I don't know.
Every time you see him, you're just looking at him and you're going, he actually really is that big. He is a unit.
He's huge.
He's a unit of a man.
6'2", 6'3", and a big frame. I don't know if you saw the drop goal he knocked over the weekend. Like it was nuts. Like just a loose drop goal. Someone went to clearance kick. It was palmed down. There was people running at him from all directions, and he was like fucking Maurice Fitzgerald. He just let fly on this ball and straight over the bar in broken field play. It was class to watch it. Yeah,
no, he's good. He's good. Just on young lads making as well. Barry Gray, Tom, was playing for the Leinster development squad on the weekend.
I didn't see. I didn't hear anything about it. I know. It's unfortunate. The
he was on the bench, I think, or something for them there to play the Munster. Was it the Munster development they played? I think it was. And don't quote me on it, but I think it was Munster they played on the weekend with the development.
Do you know they win? Because I know they got well beaten against Connacht. The Connacht Eagles.
Got annihilated against Connacht.
Yeah, and just a kind of strange result. It was a bit
great to see Barry doing so well and still being kept in the system, you know.
He's a lovely kid though. He just takes it all in his stride. Like he doesn't know how good he is himself at times, you know. He just goes out and plays, and
nothing really fails him. Just strolls along.
But they're up there. There's a heap of them in Clontarf. There's a couple of them gone to Clontarf, from maybe my own young fella was up there all in the beer and everything together and having the crack, you know. So
look, so Conor Duffy's up there and Jack Hanlon's up there and Barry's up there. They all played Leinster 18s together.
Yeah.
They all know each other. Some of the best days.
Absolutely. Tom, go ahead, Tom.
No, I'm all right.
I was just going to say before we move on from club stuff there, actually, it's just important for us to acknowledge the return of Mick McGrath to coaching youth teams in Kilkenny. He took a sabbatical there last year and the year before, but Mick's he was 87 Towns Cup winning captain, or 86 Towns Cup winning captain, but he's back involved with coaching youth teams again. About 40, I think he had given about 37 years continuous service to the club coaching, and he's back again now. And it's great to have him back in there with the under.
No one tell him once you get out, stay out.
Says I'd like someone to do that to me.
You get one off the door, jump.
What's that word, Johnny? Stay out.
Stay out. And the other one is a bit of sad news filtering through today. There's a bit of a Kilkenny legend, not only rugby legend, but a Kilkenny legend. Billy Dalton passed away. Billy at Chancellor's Mills. All his lads played with the club. Dennis and Richie played with the club, and John and Billy, and they would be kind of strong sponsors of the club as well. So we just want to pass our condolences to the Dalton family today on it. But you know, the other side of it is I think he was closer to 100 than he was to 90. So and he lived a great life as well. So as I said, condolences from us all to the Daltons.
Absolutely. Just talking there about Tom Daly, he was interviewed during the week. Andy Farless told him he's got 5 games now in the URC to get himself back in the shop window for the autumn internationals. He was disappointed, of course, Tom, that he got in for the summer series, but just never got even onto the bench for any of those matches. Very disappointing, you know. But he said he learned obviously an awful lot from being in camp, and just the intensity was a couple of steps up from what he's used to with Connacht and all that sort of stuff. So fingers crossed. You know, like he's been named in all the teams. He's putting in good performance. So we'll have to see how he gets on and what Andy Farrell's plan is come the next couple of months. Yeah,
absolutely. He's got they'll have a tough one now. The Bulls they have this weekend.
Yeah, the Vodacom Bulls.
So like it'll be tough going. But that Tom's a lovely lad, and he really it was an awful pity. Even if he got 5 minutes on the pitch, would have made a huge boost for his own morale. I know he was involved with the squad, but John, that 5 minutes to be on sitting on the bench and just not get the 5 minutes is a kind of a big disappointment for him. Look, Tom is a workhorse. He'll go out and he will do his best and won't stop him week in, week out. Like last year, he performed for Connacht, so we hope to see him back in good form again. He's a big boy.
Absolutely.
You know,
the only thing with Thomas is, like, I've great time for him. I know him an awful long time. I think he's an exceptionally good rugby player, but he's going up against probably the most informed centre in the world at the minute in Robbie Henshaw. Gary Ringrose is fit. You know, like there's an awful lot. Bundy Aki is there. There's an awful lot of competition for where he's going for. And if anything was his chance, it was when the Lions tour was on, when Bundy and Robbie were gone and Gary was injured. Like, I don't know. I think he's going to have 5 really outstanding games, really, really outstanding games in the URC to be within a horse's kick of it. And it's disappointing to say it, and it's hard. But like, a harsh reality of it is Thomas is 28. Robbie Henshaw is not too much older than him. Gary Ringrose is not older than him, and these guys are going well at the moment. So it
needs luck to go in his favour as well.
He really needs everything to fall into place for him now, and I hope it falls into place for him. But he really needs every swing, nut, bolt, and everything he can get to fall right into his place.
Yeah,
because one man's luck is another man's hard luck. You know,
there's a lot coming through Leinster. There's a lot coming through on Leinster side as well.
Yeah, like the strength in the centre.
Osborne is a fantastic unit there.
He got run out there at the weekend.
But he is class coming.
Crawley's coming
through. And
Crawley's moving well as well.
Yeah. He's kind of been a bit unlucky too. It's just, I don't know. He's just missing that little something.
For Munster the weekend had a strong game.
Yeah, he was good actually the weekend. Yeah.
I know he was very good for that Steve-O's second try. Like
I tell you, Carberry's a bit rusty.
He is.
Yeah.
He's
a bit rusty.
We'll talk about the weekend there. We just led into it nicely there as well. We'll start with Munster. You were talking, James, last week about Stephen Larkham, and we're talking about the Munster management and what's going on and what's happened over the years. It seems to be now that Stephen Larkham is probably going to take a bit more of a grasp of the management of the team, with Van Graan sort of doing a pivot and a bit more of a background role is what it's looking like, and what journalists are saying, and what seems to be going on in there as well. Basically, it was pee or get off the pot this year anyway, is what we were saying. from a management point of view, but it looks to be that's what's happening.
For Van Gran, certainly it's a big season, and he hasn't produced the goods for Munster. As I said last week, they've gone backwards, if you ask me, in terms of where they're going. They're like the Liverpool of old. They're there or thereabouts, and then it gets to the important part of the season and they filter away. And Johnny touched on it last week. Is there a cultural problem? There is. Van Gran, going by his demeanour in interviews and stuff, he's a very, how would I say, a stern sort of character, and seems to be very set in his ways. Whereas when you compare him to Larkin's a Nazi. He probably by nature has a better personality, is probably a better people person. And because of that, he's probably a more upbeat sort of guy in the interviews and in the press conferences and so on. But I've noticed over the last couple of weeks, it's Larkin that's front and centre at the press conferences. See, Dave Kilcoyne that with him yesterday. So it's probably a fair assessment to say that Larkin is probably going to be taking the reins, or definitely taking over the reins in a more senior, like what is he at the moment? He's a senior head coach or something like that.
He was the attack coach for.
Something like that.
The attack. He was down as coach with them.
Yeah, like a Leo Cullen, Stuart Lancaster sort of thing.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's probably fair assessment wherever your source of information is coming from, Stephen, and it makes sense that Van Gran might move somewhere else, be it upstairs or be it back home, and Larkin will transition into that head coach position, and hopefully it works, because you know what, he was an X-factor player. He had everything, and you can see his impact on Munster over the last 2 seasons. But I think the out-and-out impact that he could actually have has probably been restricted a little bit by the conservative approach that Van Gran brings to it. So you'd like to think that when Larkin gets his full control of the team, that Munster might start trying to play a little bit more open. And in fairness,
you saw like the last, especially the second half last week, they had at the weekend they were far more open in their play. They got their last try was fantastic. The last Ebo try was excellent hands, which Larkham has been bringing in. But I didn't like the way last season that they regressed to kind of this and trying to play like, we're not South Africans. You can bring whoever you want in, but we're not South Africans. We don't play that bully game. We've never been able to play that bully game. There's no Irish team has ever really played a bully game. And look, we've all Munster mauled for years, and they were fantastic at it. Leinster are well able to maul now, but that's not a bully game. Like, they play this. I don't like the idea. And I don't like the idea that they brought in another South African second row. I mean, we have the young fella from Kerry was just phenomenal when to have a guy who was 6'10".
Thomas Ahern,
Thomas Ahern actually played full back and underage rugby. Schools played full back, but you can see him in the last try. He's up with Zebo on the wing.
Yeah, there's a
6'10" second row. And he's not getting the game. And how is he going to fit in with the game time?
Another Ryan Baird. He shouldn't be running that fast at all.
He scored
we need a 6'10". Devin Toner, when Devin Toner came into his prime, when you put him on the pitch straight away, lineouts of whether it was for Ireland or whether it's for Leinster, you have somebody there who is extraordinary, and that young has that potential.
He scored some cracking tries for the Irish under-20s, if you remember, from way out the field.
He's serious gas, big long legs opening up.
You mentioned like Devin Toner. Devin Toner has been an incredible servant to Irish rugby, but he probably offers nothing to the caliber around the pitch that young Ahern can offer, because he's such an athlete. Like
we need second rows, we need front row players, we need we have young Hognett is coming back into the play. He's another back row player. They're all competition. Like we need it from Leinster, from Munster, and also from the other 2 provinces. We have to have competition to get an Irish team.
We said it last week. It seems to be affecting something that happens in Irish club rugby. We're so slow about giving these young fellas their chance. In Wales, in England, in New Zealand, if you're good enough, you're old enough, in you go prove yourself. You'll make mistakes, but that's part and parcel of it. It's all about how you channel the mistake and how you use that mistake. In Ireland, we just seem to be, no, he's not ready, we'll hold him back. Then it gets to the point where, has he been held back too much to the point where he's not able to express himself anymore,
Well, sure, you give it yourself. You give a prime example of a young lad playing for Kilkenny. You said he was extra, and you said an 18-year-old, a young lad shouldn't be doing that in J1 rugby. So there's a young lad who got a chance and performed. So we need, and in fairness, Leinster are so good at it, but the other provinces, they like. That's why it is so important to have the other three, but especially Munster, who are at them. Well, always kind of being, it's either first or second. They have to have a team to compete with Leinster, and they have to play a rugby that suits Irish rugby, because if they don't, our national team will suffer.
I think Munster need to be very, very careful, because I think Tomás O'Hearn especially could be scouted somewhere else. If he's not getting game time in Munster, I think he could go somewhere else, and they need to be very, very careful. They're finally getting good young talent in, but they're not letting them express themselves.
Yeah, and that's been a problem with Munster for a long time.
But it'll be a problem across the board if we're not lads aren't getting game time, and even like Porter, those talks of Porter for next season could be approached by French teams.
Yeah, but they do that every year. They do that every year.
No, but this year there's a particular thing that they're going to approach a couple of players, and will really go for it.
And
Tyke Furlong.
No, it wasn't Tyke.
Furlong is only a year of his contract, so they're worried about.
Reece Ruddock, Ross Byrne, and Andrew Porter.
Ross Maloney. That was the other one.
Yeah,
there was another. I know it's all chat, but
there's a reason Leinster are looking to make Healy into a tight head as well.
I was just going to talk about that actually.
Yeah. I seen that, and I was there going.
Is it not a bit like ridiculous to be trying to moving lads around, bringing in another tight head, shifting lads to loose head, considering that we're trying to get play.
The boys did a swap basically last weekend.
The uneducated person to the front row would say, "Oh, she can play both sides," but you cannot play both sides.
Oh, you can't,
unless you are trained from a very, very early age. Because even with Charlie they were trying to make Charlie Ward play loose head and tight head, and now since he's gone to Connacht, they're only putting him in as loose at the minute. Cian Healy is well experienced, well developed. He's not going to learn how to play a tight head overnight.
The question I'd ask is, why are they doing it? They've brought in Michael Alalatoa, and they got Tyg into a 1-year contract extension. Are they looking at it to say, well, Tyg could be gone the end of the season?
I reckon Tyg will go.
Do you
reckon?
Yeah. Why? Like, it's longevity. Yeah, his career has more years behind it than does in front of it. His best years are
29.
He's 29. He's 29 in November. His best years are now. He needs to go make some pound.
Well, he'll get, like, he's, as they said, he's young fella, and he'll get, if he gets
he's over half a million
over 3 years or whatever, that's he can demand what he wants, because there is no tight heads.
No, but let's be fair. To be fair, lads, he's over $500,000 a year prop.
Yeah, he is.
Over $500,000, but and he needs it, and he needs to go earn that and have it. But the only thing is, his timing couldn't be worse for his age and everything, with the World Cup being in 2023. Will they give him an exemption like they gave Sexton? Won't they, like the Rohoff Seabo, the Rohoff Donegal, will they let him back in? It's a case of having to let him back in,
As Donald Linehan said a few years ago on Against the Head, the scrum is never an issue until it becomes an issue. And if Tyg Furlong leaves Ireland and is not eligible for Ireland, we're in trouble in our scrum, regardless of what Porter can do, regardless of what anyone else can do. Tyg Furlong.
Let's be honest, lads. Andrew Porter is good player, but he's not an exceptionally good tight head. After Tyg Furlong, how many exceptionally good tight heads do we have in the country?
We only have 3 tight heads in the country, really, realistically, at the moment.
Yeah, but how many of them are exceptional?
Only Tyg.
Well, Porter probably. Well, Porter is number 2, and he still has a bit of oomph around the field.
No, he's a great player, but he's not. What I mean is, he's not an exceptional tight head.
Not as a scrum, he wouldn't be the best scrummager.
I don't rate him as an exceptional player personally.
But if he's not getting the week in, week out run a tight head,
how is he expected?
He can't just come into play international, shove into the international tight head. It just doesn't work.
Well, yeah, like I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it's his fault as such, but
no, it's not.
He's not an exceptional tight head. So if Tyg Furlong leaves and decides to go to France in 2022, 2023, who's going to play tight head for Ireland in the 2023 World Cup?
Well, that's why I didn't see. It's like Munster bringing in a second row. Why bring in unless Alatoa is going to absolutely give young lads that, for coaching point of view and for that, how is he going to make such a difference? It's not going to do the national team any good.
No.
Yeah.
And having there is certain positions that, like even your man going in hooker in Ulster, you would hope that he would bring something to his, like, because of his age, that he might bring something to youth, as in the younger hookers coming in.
Maybe bringing him in like London or bringing Sean in for a coaching perspective.
I want from a coaching and a leading point of view. No, I saw your man Alatoa, he's great hands and everything. But what's he going to do?
He doesn't benefit the national team though.
I put him up. Yeah. Like, you see him put him up against one of the big England squads, one of the big French teams.
There's a big issue as well with URC this year, is that when the international window comes around, that stops. As far as I know. So all that time where we were sending out the chaps, as I used to call it, the Harry Byrnes and the Osbornes and all this to get game time, that's sort of going to disappear a bit this year with the reformat of the league. So that puts a bit more pressure on this rotation of bringing in these young lads. Leinster have been great at it the last couple of years. Jesus, the blood, God knows how many players, but what are they going to do this year? And so that makes that argument tougher then again.
What the biggest issue, I know the rotation is good, but they're also looking at bringing in a pay cap.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, so the pay cap will throw a lot of spanners into the work. If it comes in 2022, 2023, and Tyke Furlong has been offered a cap of 450,000 for dog's sake off Leinster, but France are offering him 650.
So who's imposing that pay cap? Is it IRFU or the European?
No, it's the URC. It's the whole competition in general. They're looking to bring in a pay cap. I briefly looked at something today on it. I didn't really.
And is that something to do probably with the funds available to the South African teams to try and keep more players in South Africa?
It's to try keep the players in South Africa and try keep the competition level high.
Yeah. Okay. So the IRFU are going to have to keep on imposing that, you play away, you don't play for Ireland thing. To try and encourage them to stay. It's a tough one.
Yeah, I don't know. I think ever since Sexton was allowed dual in and out from
wrestling. You see, that was as what's his name, Brian O'Driscoll pointed out, that Sexton thing happened before Nucifora really nailed that one down. So it wasn't strictly in play that time, so to speak. But then Nucifora came and said, right, this is our policy.
Isn't there talk on Nucifora? His contract is up the end of this year, and there's talk about him moving on with Brown. Both of them will move out at the same time. I know a lot of the women were saying that after last week's disaster, that Nucifora might move on as well when the current CEO, I can't remember his name, the RFU, moves on as well. So
they were well short of their targets that they set for themselves in that 5-year plan. So
but do they have the players? That's the first question I think you need to ask. I don't know Adam Griggs, but I know Adam Griggs is a reasonably, if not a very good coach. He would know that better than I would, Johnny. But did he have the resources to do it? And resources not being money or not being facilities, but being players.
But you won't have players. You're not going to, unless, I keep saying with the women, it's like years ago, lads went off and played in England before real professional. Lads went and got blooded in England for a while. But unless you get the women playing professional and give them something, you're not going to have they're second class citizens. They're second class citizens at the moment.
The majority of good women are in England playing.
What?
The majority of our good women are in England playing, like Annika.
But it's only a couple of them, and you still you're trying to force panels. And what we're doing at the moment, which is absolutely atrocious, like the out half only had a couple of games at out half, and she could be a really, really good out half. But she was brought straight in from sevens to play out. Like she's playing out half when she played at sevens and 15 game. It's totally different games, and they're trying to spread it out between the 15s and the sevens games. That's not going to work.
I think that problem stems from a good few years back now, and I won't mention any names as such, but I remember years ago when I was first starting to get involved in the Southeast coach, and I was down at the trials, and we were doing the lads and the girls trials, and I remember being given a book with names on it for the girls trials, and we were training anyway, and we were watching drills and stuff, and so basically it was for the 15 Southeast team. It was Union Southeast team, I call it. So standing there and I was marking girls on ability and stuff and everything else. And next thing, one guy comes over and says to me, "Look for sevens players." this is what this program is for. So I was there thinking, you're getting girls that are playing 15s in their club.
Bit of a meltdown, lads.
There's an issue with the internet in Tullow, lads.
I'm in Ballon. The country Wi-Fi is bad. But
Sorry,
look,
Johnny, you were repeat what you were saying there.
I just think the whole setup in the women's game is backwards. I just think they're not given the same opportunity. They're not given the same level of respect. Some women athletes are actually far better athletes than men, and I think it's fear more than anything else that is holding them back. I think there if you need to invest an awful lot more energy, time, and finances into them, and they need to be given stuff. They need to be given money. They need to be given jobs, whatever it is. They need to be treated like the men are treated, because I really think it's a fear factor that the women could surpass the men if they were given the equal opportunities.
Potentially.
That's my personal take on it.
But you have to have those girls in your club. You have
That's
to.
it.
Like, if we don't have every club. I don't care if they're fibbing if it comes down to saying that every club has loads of members or there's loads of young lads playing. There's a serious downturn in young lads playing sport. We need women to fit. The girls need to come in and fit in. Like, I was there last night with the 16s Rhinos, and you should see them. Like, I know the national, they're different than lads, but they pick up things so quickly. So it's not a case that if they were given at the right age, the right information, the right coaching, the right facilities, strength and conditioning, those girls will stay. And now, okay, girls will finish up a little bit quicker, but you'll have a bigger kind of conveyor belt of players coming through. Whereas at the moment they don't have those, and it's
they need to be given a target, Tom.
Well, it is a lot of, like, most families have, like, there's daughters in a lot of families, and they have to, they need to play sport too.
Yeah,
So
but you get what I mean. Like
the
lads are being given platforms all the time. So this year is actually the first official full under-18 Southeast Girl program. So it's a full program. So they'll be given the Shane Horgan Cup games. They've been given S&C. They've been given coaches. Everything. They'll be given equal opportunity at the top level. But like, if girls don't have that, if they don't have that target to set, they'll move to another code. They'll go to GAA where they can play county football, or they can play county hurling or camogie, or they go to soccer where they can get onto the Wexford Youth Women's team, or they'll go somewhere where they can progress. An athlete's an athlete, and they know where they're going to be appreciated. So if they're given long-term movements, I think they'll commit more. You can't dispute the level. Like, I was watching I'm going to sound real one-sided here, but I was watching the Tullow girls on Monday night, and God rest poor old Gerard O'Brien. You could tell them girls were coached how to play rugby. The four girls, they knew how to catch, they knew how to pass, they knew how to tackle, they knew where to put their feet, they knew all the basics that you can't get 16 lads to know. But 16 girls know how to do it because they listen and they respect the person telling them. And they're very coachable. And like, I was just standing back inside and I was watching them four girls, and I just said, "Geez, Jordan, a fantastic job." Because them girls were coached by a person who took time out to show them basic skills of the game, and not tell them, let's do 600 loops and unders and look so good on camera, but we won't be tenable and we won't last. And by the time you get to 18 rugby, you'll fall off.
No, well, 18 is 18. To have them there 17 and 18 is too late. They need to be there 15, 16. That has to be where.
And that's where Joe had them girls. He had them at 14s. He had them at 12s.
Yeah.
And
we actually have it integrated at minis level now as well. So there's a minis girls section at Kilkenny as well. And for 70, 80 young girls out playing every Sunday morning. Well, maybe not yet, but in the next few weeks, that's sort of be coming back out. And that's even again where it starts, because you will have a dropout after minis. You will have a dropout. I think, was it the 20 by 20 movement is trying to stop girls dropping out of sport in general before 16 to keep them beyond 16. So let's keep them beyond 16. You will have a small dropout. But I think it's up to us as clubs as well, not to incentivize it for us, but to make it difficult for them to leave the sport. And
make it interesting to keep them.
Make it interesting for them to stay involved. Make it fun for them. Take perhaps, is the competition is needed, but is there any quirky way that it can be made a little bit more enjoyable to invoke emotions for them to actually want to stay and move through to the next levels.
But if you get girls on tour, get them off on tour the same as boys, bring them across the water, wherever else they're going, or even small tours around playing clubs, and get them having the same crack as the boys, and introduce that kind of that nitty gritty family, the feeling that they have, and bring that back into the girls' system. Girls will stay. They don't know the sport. It's just fun. Like half it is fun, but they just play. They play it with fun. They're just going out and they're playing it. They're learning it in a fun way, but they need the crack and they need to be brought into this, have the same fun as the lads have. And I think if those programs come into place and they can go down to the southeast and get that, those who are developed a bit earlier can go down to the southeast, get the skills and bring them back to the girls and bring back that information to the other girls, and then have them in the same sort of respect that they go to get them into watching Leinster matches. Like I see something came in there where to try and get the lads back up for the Leinster games, after October when things are opened up again, is to try and fill the stadiums. But why not fill them with girls as well? And go watch the girls play.
Yeah.
That's
just on that, I think Mags Hennessy from our women's section, head coach for senior women's teams, was on with KCLR the weekend. They're recruiting players, really trying to recruit players at the moment to come out and join the women's team. So if anybody locally in Kilkenny wants to come, give it a try, give us a call there on any of the Facebook pages and we'll arrange for you to come out.
Absolutely. The more the merrier, lads. I think we'll wrap it up there. It's one of the longest ones we've done so far. Lots to chat about.
You see, you missed me. You just missed me last week.
We missed Tom.
You see, Tom, there was very little sense spoken last week.
Yeah, nothing but lies.
That's it. No, it's
very good.
There is. It's busy times for sure. It's the best way to have it, and it's great to have you back on this week, Tom, and the lads as well. Lads, thanks a million for joining us.
Thanks very much, lads.
Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Enjoy the beer, Johnny.